What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes, and today I'm here with a friend of mine.
Hey guys, Ghast here.
And today we're going to be doing some pretty interesting discussion on some of the most underwhelming base kits of the units in Fire Emblem Heroes. Now, a lot of the newer release units have pretty good synergetic kits. A lot of them even have like 3 passive skills, which is quite a lot when they do not have any kind of reason to, like Halloween Sakura had 3 base skills. So we're just going to be talking about some of the most underwhelming kits that this game had, and this were a lot more troublesome when the game didn't have skill inheritance, of course. But even now, like, if a unit does not have a good default kit, then it takes a lot of resources to build them up to a good level, to where they can be good in combat. And if they've got a good base kit from start, then it's pretty easy to build them with a budget set and not waste a lot of resources, save much more time in the SP grinding and stuff. So having a good base kit is definitely always very good.
Yeah, so like the idea behind like the characters we're going to talk about are just kits that are just like intelligence systems. What were you thinking when they like most of the kits we came like that are from the really early days, like version 1.0, where it seems like intelligence systems was trying to do something, but it just like the end result was just not there. Some of these kits are so silly. I'm sure some of you are like suspecting on what they are. So I guess we can just jump right in.
Yeah, and if you guys want, you can just let us know your guesses in the comment section down below and what you think about like the worst default kits, because as a free-to-play player, you definitely want to like have your resources used optimally. You do not want to spend too much stamina in SP grinding, not spend too many units as fodder.
Yeah, so the first one that I picked, which I find is just so funny, is Hana's kit. So obviously, I mean, she has like 36 speed, which is the 5th highest speed for swords, and 35 attack, which is the 3rd highest for swords. And obviously her defenses are really squishy because she's like a glass cannon samurai. So her kit, as you guys know, is life and death, which makes a lot of sense. Boosts that attack and speed to 40 and 41 respectively. And then she has obstruct.
Like,
for like
what?
I need to protect Lady Sakura is I think what the angle they were trying to go, like obstructing, I'm going to stop the enemy and like protect my friends or whatever. But it's just like, why though? You're gonna have 17 defense, like 20 res,
and I think that Hana is definitely one of the few launch units who has been min-maxed pretty well. Like, she has got pretty good attack speed, she also has life and death, and then they just absolutely went downhill from there.
Well, she also has rally attack too, but again, it's like rally skill, or I'd rather just have a hone. It's so much more practical in my eyes to have hone instead of a rally attack. Or she has rally attack as a base, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, she has rally attack, and the thing is with like rally skills on offensive units is that you cannot rally and attack an enemy unit at the same turn. You either rally or attack them, so it's like you have to choose between those. So these kinds of rally skills usually are not very good on offensive units. It's more suited towards like enemy phase units and like supportive units. But if you're, of course, in terms of arena, you do run dual rally skills for arena points, but like if you look at without arena scoring, then rally skills are not very good for offensive units.
Yeah, and to that point, like Armor Slayer honestly is like it's not such a bad weapon, because like she has the power, she has that attack and speed to like deal damage to double, and then when it comes to armor, she can deal special damage too. So she doesn't like, she has offensively lots of versatility and stuff, but like Phoenix, you and I were discussing about this before, that like earlier intelligence systems seemed to like try to like cover more bases, but ended up having sort of like they spread themselves a little thin. You have rally attack and obstruct, 2 enemy phase oriented skills, because they obviously like obstruct, you're going to position yourself to block enemies from moving like past you, which is clearly implies it's like a defensive skill.
Yeah.
You can't really do anything offensively with it. Same with rally attack, but then you have life and death and Armor Slayer, which is like a pretty versatile sword, like offensively and defensively, but like there's running life and death and obstruct at the same time. It's like you're gonna die.
And you also have a top-notch offensive spread. 35-36 speed is still very good. It's amazing actually. It's really good.
It's like impressively good for 1.0.
Yeah, like she has aged very well with the game. She's still extremely good unit if you build her.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, you can obviously build any unit as much as you want and they'll be really good. Like, I don't think there are any kind of low tiers in this game because, like, you're playing against AI. You can obviously build a unit to the point where they can, like, just compete with a lot of the top units and still do pretty well because, like I said, in the end, you're playing against AI. Pretty easy to manipulate. It's not a human player.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. It's like, not all of the, like, the characters, like, their default kits is kind of what we're just, like, judging them on and stuff like that. So not necessarily, like, the entirety of the character, because, of course, like you said, people can submit builds and whatnot and stuff. So, yeah, and so, you know, part of the discussion we have is, like, okay, these are, like, the default kits. Why are they so silly to us? Why are they so dysfunctional? Again, obstruct. Like, you have Stall and Korn, who are also sword units that have obstruct, but they're much more fitting. Lots of defense with them. And then, like, I don't know, obstruct and, like, red swords, there's 3 sword units with obstruct. It's strangely how...
Yeah, and Hana is, like, the worst one of like, the user of obstruct.
Yeah, I can just imagine her, like, trying to, like stand next to Stall and Korn and be like, I can be strong too! And it's just like, girl, what? Threat and defense we thought would be a good one for Hana, just because if she wants to, like, keep Armor Slayer on, then a threaten would be easily, like, you can easily position Armor to fall into that range.
Yeah, like, if it would have made more sense with her base kit. Vantage for slot B is also a thing which they could have done, because of course Sword Masters have that as their default skill in a lot of Fire Emblem games. And for assist skill, like, you didn't really need to give her assist skill. You could have given her Astra. It would make total sense.
Yeah, like, to the point we were discussing before. 1.0, it just kind of felt like they were kind of all over the place and trying to, like, you know, build units that can do stuff offensively and defensively. But now you see, with the newer launch unit, the newer characters now, it's like they're completely dedicated to, like, one side. It feels like most.
Yeah,
of the
they're specialists in what they do. And Hana is definitely not the worst unit on this list. That's why we're just mentioning her before. But it would be pretty silly if we left her because she has got obstruct, which is extremely funny. Hana, of course, is a free-to-play unit, excellent free-to-play unit actually. And Life and Death is definitely something which you keep on her, even if you build her optimally. But yeah, not really the worst one, but still pretty funny because of obstruct.
Okay, so that's Hana. And the next one we have on the list is...
Florina.
Florina. So Florina is just out of this world. Darting Blow at 4 stars, which is, like, pretty solid. Breath of Life at 5 stars, which is like, Ardent Sacrifice and Heavy Spear. So, don't know about you, Phoenix, but I feel like her kit makes, like, no sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Like, why do you have Heavy Spear on a unit with, like, 25 base defense as a 5-star? Okay, she's not the best unit to take on armored units with, because usually armored units are very strong and they can just one-shot her on the counter attack.
I mean, like, Darting Blow, cool. Like, you're gonna go faster against armors.
Yeah, and at that time, not even fast armored knights like Black Knight Amelia or Christmas Robin were released. And even if they were, she's still not gonna be doubling them. There's no way. She can just prevent the counter attack, I guess. Like, she can prevent getting doubled, but she cannot really, like, double attack them. And with Heavy Spear does not make sense because your targets are armored units, and then Darting Blow just does not make too much sense. Also, they have completely ruined her from what she was in Blazing Sword. She was this really fast Pegasus Knight, 55 speed growth rate, and now here she is with absolute abysmal speed, not being able to double anyone, getting doubled by everyone. It's just a disaster, honestly. She has got Ardent Sacrifice and Breath of Life for, like, whatever reason. Why do you want to have Ardent Sacrifice on this kind of squishy unit?
So again, it's kind of like that mixed bag where, like, Darting Blow and Breath of Life, they're, like, offensive skills, but at the same time, she doesn't really have, like, the attack to do a lot with it. And, like, and then Ardent Sacrifice is, like, you're gonna lose first of all, you're gonna lose your player phase move, and you're gonna like be less squished, be less tanky with your res. So it's like, do you want to like bait red mages around, or like what's the deal, Florina? Kind of confused here.
Yeah, it's pretty confusing, and it's not even a reference or anything like that. Like, you could argue how Deirdre is an enemy phase unit, and she has got Ardent Sacrifice, and she has got Quick Repose. That's the biggest joke. She's got Quick Repose. You wanna stay in that range, and she also had Ardent Sacrifice. But that's a reference to FE4 on how she can be a healer.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, but for like Florina, she has nothing.
Yeah.
Like, no excuses.
Like, you wouldn't.
Breath of Life.
Even the funny thing is like heavy spears in FE7. I forget how much they weighed, but like holy cow, because like her con was garbage. She had like 5 con or something, and that was like the notoriously bad thing about 14 weight. Like a 14 weight spear is like, dude. Yeah.
Obviously now she's gonna be extremely slow.
Yeah, so it's like, I guess if you want to work it, that's the canon Phoenix. It's like the heavy spear is so goddamn heavy that like Florina has 27 base speed. It's because it's too heavy to do anything. Yeah, so like I said, her kit feels like in Heroes to do a lot of different things. It just doesn't really it's not really dedicated to one thing. Yeah, I feel like her biggest strengths in Heroes stat-wise is her HP and res.
That's the thing, like, if you're gonna be having that high res on a melee unit, they better have something to utilize like that high res in the form of a special like Iceberg or Glacis.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not very helpful.
Yeah, which is why I found like Shanna's kit really nice, because she had the Killer Lance and Desperation and like Iceberg or something, which was just, or was it Glacis? I forget which one.
She has got Iceberg.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was awesome. Like, she had a great kit.
Yeah. So that's Florina, and then we have got Spring Camilla. Yeah, she's not a launch unit, but she's definitely one of the older units. And the first seasonal banner was definitely the worst one. Like, the worst seasonal banner had the most underwhelming units. And the worst thing is that their like default kits were so like underwhelming. Outside of Bunny Lucina, who had Sparrow, of course.
Yeah.
But Spring Camilla is like the worst default kit unit from that banner. She's got Green Egg Plus, which recovers 4 HP after battle, which is fine, I guess, because she is pretty tanky and stuff. She's got Define Speed. Like, it's the same thing with like Florina. Like, you have a speed boosting skill. When you have very low speed, it still does not make up for that. Like we talked about, they were really trying to and make unit all-rounded, like patch up their weakness, but Define Speed is not very good. It only activates below 50% HP, and then she's got Rally Attack, which is not really too bad, because she is pretty defensive, but yeah, overall her default kit is pretty underwhelming. Live for Bounty has no purpose. You have to invest into her so much to make her good.
The Defiant Speed is like, it works off like taking damage, but then Green Egg Plus gives you health, so it's like,
yeah, it's so counterproductive.
I feel like it's not like very, very counterproductive, because it's like 4 HP, which is like pretty marginal when your HP is 39 at base, but like kind of just plays into the fact that Green Egg Plus is an 11 might weapon. The special is like a marginal 4 HP recovery, and it also kind of might screw you over with like Defiant Speed. So I think, well, like, it was to your point too, like, took so much time to invest in her. I ended up giving her Fury, and I thought it'd be cool, like, if she would take damage but also recover damage from the Green Egg. And then I was like,
yeah, I can definitely, those weapons have got pretty good synergy with Fury. But yeah, you need to invest into her so much to make her usable in combat. Like, it's insane. So next up we have got Gaius, another unit with a pretty unsynergetic kit. So he has got Rogue Dagger, which does not make sense with a unit like him who has got pretty low bulk. Of course, he does have decent HP at 42, which is pretty strange for an offensive unit. And then he has got pretty low bulk, so Rogue Dagger gives you +5 defense and res for 1 turn. And even after that, like, he's not gonna be able to survive. He's got Rally Speed once again. He's an offensive type of unit with high speed, not really a defensive unit per se. And he's got Rally Speed, so you can only rally or attack, so it's not really work out very well for a unit like him. And then he has got Defiant Attack, which I guess is not really too bad, but it's once again locked to 5-star. He cannot have that as a 4-star unit, and he can only appear as a 3-star and 4-star unit. So Defiant Attack does at least try to fix his 29 base attack, which is not really the best. And Rogue Dagger, like, I guess they were supposed to make it so that Rogue Dagger can make him bulky enough so that he can take hits and then fall into the range of Defiant Attack. I think that's what they were going for. I think.
Who knows?
With Defiant attacking Rogue Dagger, because that's the only like correlation I can make of.
Yeah.
Like, why would you have like defense +5 and res +5 on this kind of unit with low bulk, and then you have Defiant Attack? It's very confusing.
Yeah.
Either just go with full out offensive or defensive.
Yeah, like, and of course he has pass, which is just like, oh, you have pass in a game where you have 3 move, you're a legend. Or sorry, 2 moves. 2 moves.
Yeah, of course, pass is one of the worst skills ever.
I'd rather you just go all in and like debuff with like Silver Dagger. And it was like, to your point, like, okay, cool, like you're gonna buff his defense and res, but like he's not even about that life, man. He's gonna get like 27 defense, 26, 27 and 25, which is like, dude, like, not good, man. You're gonna die soon, but
they're trying to give him longevity because with his high speed and decent HP, he could take hits, but then you've got Defiant Attack, like we talked about. They're just trying to like patch up too many weakness of a unit, trying to make them all-rounders when it would be much better if they were specialists.
Yeah, for sure. And
yeah, something like Darting Blow would really work on his default kit. Like, why not?
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like, we're gonna talk about another Dagger unit in a second. It's like, if you're gonna be like, if Dagger units are gonna be all about the debuff, like, make them do that as much as possible. Like, don't put them in range to like get screwed over or something, because they're probably gonna die.
And you do not really want to put your Dagger unit on the front lines. Like, they will not be able to retaliate back to melee units.
Yeah.
So they just want to be behind some unit, attacking from a safe distance. And Gaius is definitely not an enemy face Dagger unit. That title goes to Matthew, Saizo, stuff like that.
Yeah, who actually have that bulk.
Yeah, they have the bulk to take hits.
Yeah.
Even if they are put on the front lines.
You know what I think? I think he's not very defensive because he has weak bones because he eats too much candy, Phoenix. Guy has too much candy. He doesn't get the calcium. He only gets his calcium from like milk chocolate, and that's it. That's not good enough. Dr. Ghast, trying to help you out, guys. Get it together, bud.
Okay, Dr. Ghast, what do you have explanation for this lovely Winter Tharja? How does she have more defense than Ike?
Canonically, okay, if she gets married to Lonku, she has to like go back from Ragnaferox to Plagia because she doesn't like the winter temperature, and since this theme is Christmassy and therefore cold, she can't move very quickly because she's cold all the time. She's not wearing a lot of clothes, so she's like numb and stuff. So not only can she only move once, but also her nerves are frozen, which means she can take a lot of damage. And thirdly, once she gets hit, she's like, oh my god, you hit me, I'm very angry now. I'm clearly exposed, how could you? And then boom, vengeful fighter. And friggin' follow up and charge pluses and close counter, and then you're toast. You're toast. That's
the closest I guess you can get.
Yeah, that's it. So, support science, Winter Tharia, go.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that, like, she's frozen, so that's why she can only move, like, only one space, which I guess does make sense.
Yeah.
And maybe she's celebrating this in Brazil or Australia, wearing this kind of outfit in Christmas.
Who knows? She's just a normal girl. Yeah. So, the next character we have is Ray. So, Ray is, kind of just bad all over the place. 36 HP, 32 attack, 29 speed, 22 defense, and 29 res. HP +5 is a 5-star skill, which is just like the rarest thing. Like the most prestigious 5-star skill you could ever have. He has Seal Res 3, Rally Attack, and Roarwolf. I never know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm just saying Roarwolf.
I think the O is supposed to be pronounced as D, but I wouldn't know. My pronunciations are messed up.
D?
Yeah. Like Rod
What?
Raven. Like Rod Wolf.
No.
Yeah.
What? No way.
Yeah, like...
Hold on, I have to spell it right.
Performing Arts
R-A-U.
Azura has, like her axe, and you pronounce it as Udrar.
Okay, Rodrolf. Sure. Okay. Anyway, back to the unit. So below average in like every skill. He has the third lowest base stat total for red mages. Obviously not good. And personally, I think his kit is just like pretty useless and has like no chemistry whatsoever. Still though, like there's not a large pool of like green horse units for that to really like be a big like an X factor type thing. And like compared to like Blarwolf, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Blarwolf and Gronwolf, like it's just like I feel like those color wolf tomes are more universal and they can like do more damage, do more neutral damage and stuff like that than what Ray can do with his tome. HP plus 5 only gives him 41 HP, which is like even still like lower than some base red mage HP at these days. Not really great skill to begin with. Not really sure why he has it in particular. Like, I guess 41 HP at launch was like good, maybe. I don't know.
No, it definitely wasn't.
Never mind. And yeah, so like if you're giving him seal res, then like yeah, okay, it helps res, but also you can't. It's not helping you double anything. And yeah, he's not like, and he's too squishy to be an enemy phase. Defense is 22. And like
yeah, the only thing he can take on is like magical units.
Yeah.
That is if he has got the weapon strangle advantage.
Yeah. So for ideas for his tome, like again, just completely investing in like if like keeping his like Rodrolf and not going like Blarblade or like rod blading it, just literally going finding a death blow, finding like a sword breaker or something to like take care of like neutral reds with a lot of power. And again, like if we're talking about like right now, like res ploy, I guess could be helpful because he has 29 res, which is like one of his saving graces, even though it's like for mages standard, it's like okay. Yeah, it's okay. Threaten res could help him, I guess.
Yeah.
And Glimmer or Luna, cashing in on that special damage and like swap just to easily maneuver to the right spot to get the threatens good. I think probably like me personally, that's how I would build him.
Yeah, and Seal Res is pretty waste of a slot B skill. Smoke skills are pretty much like Seal skills, but they affect enemies near 2 spaces of the target. It does not affect the target itself. And Seal Res, I don't really like it too much. It could have been Threatened Res. Ray is known to be pretty smug and arrogant, so I guess they could have done something with that. Like, he's trying to fake his confidence and stuff, because he's pretty soft on inside, trying to just appear tough guy, so he threatens Res. I don't know, I'm just trying to make sense with this.
Yeah, it's just, it's again one of those situations where, guy, you're all over the place.
Yeah, so Seal Res, not very good, but I guess for launch, it was decent, but still a waste of a slot B skill, if you ask me. If you're trying to build up Ray, you would have to get rid of his HP plus 5, you would have to get rid of his Seal Res. Like, his passive skills are pretty useless if you want to build him.
Yeah.
So that's why he makes onto this list.
Yeah, just...
It takes a lot to, like, make him usable.
Yeah. And the last unit we have... Or no, not the last one. Third last, actually. Wait. Yes, third last. Is Jakob. So, his issue is that he's just, like, middling across the board. His stats are like his skills, are just like, it feels like they were just randomly picked, honestly. They just picked out of a hat. Silver Dagger, which like to its credit now is like really sweet. I really like Silver Dagger now with the Refinery. Rally Res is like okay, cool, I guess. Defense plus 3 is like 28 defense, I guess.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Yeah, and then there's Renewal 3. So, Renewal 3 at 5 stars. So that's kind of locked. Yeah, so like middling stats across the board. Medium defense and res, below average attack and HP. Yeah, like his issue is that he's just so plain, and like even down to like base stat total, like there's like in total 5 units with a base stat total of 149 for daggers. which is like the most out of like a pool of like what, like 8 or 9 in total.
Yeah. Silver Dagger is actually pretty good on him because he only has 29 base attack, so it does make sense to give him a pretty strong weapon. Rally res, I guess, because he wants, like, he's a butler, so he wants to serve his master. Defense plus 3 does not make sense because his target units are going to be range units, so unless he's supposed to be fighting archers, which he cannot very efficiently because of his average defense, something like res plus 3 would make sense because he's going to be facing mages better, and like 2 mages he can do much more damage because they're going to be having less defense. So like Felicia, res plus 3 would make sense on him.
Yeah.
Actually.
So
and renewal 3 does not really help him too much because he's not very bulky. If he's going to take hits, then it's going to like take a lot of HP from him, and renewal is not enough to recover that.
Yeah. And like so his kit like really strikes me as just like a mixed bag of stuff. Just kind of like his stats, it's just like just middling across the board. His stats are like, what are you doing type thing. And but I think like given that he does have a lot of versatility, like in the sense that he doesn't really have like a glaring weakness for a dagger unit. He's just like so average, which is the thing.
Yeah, he's the epitome of being average in this game.
Yeah, he's like the most like he's like mediocre type stuff. So like, but in terms of builds, like I feel like you can get pretty creative with him just because he can do a lot. In terms of like builds, he can be like a sturdy guy, he can be like a speedy guy. And I think if like with debuffs for Silver Dagger, like especially with the weapon refinery, that's really dedicating him to like debuff as much as he can. I would try to build him like speed wise. I don't know like how popular that is. Like I know people like to cash in on his like stockiness just to try to like keep like salvage renewal and like the defensive stuff. But
yeah, if you want to go with budget sets.
Yeah, but personally I think like giving him like darting blow to boost that speed up to 37, which is like solid, I guess. 37.
Yeah, it's decent.
Yeah, could give him a chance to double or not get doubled by. And then as a C skill, like honing attack. So like it would play in well, I think, to his debuff ability, like debuffing res and defense by 7, but also buffing your allies by 4, like at the same time, which like seems pretty helpful to be a debuffer, but also a buffer.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like Felicia was supposed to be this kind of more defensive unit. They obviously want to contrast them. Like Jakob is supposed to be, I guess, more front-liney, and Felicia is more of a unit who stays on the back, takes the hit with her high res. Jakob is supposed to have defense plus 3 to be more bulky on the physical side, but I guess they could have gone with a more offensive route. Just give him like Life and Death 2 at 4-star rarity. That would have been pretty useful actually. It wouldn't hurt so much to get him as a 5-star unit because he's actually one of the units you can get at 5-star rarity. It's absolutely insane. Like you can get this average unit at 5-star rarity. It just hurts so much when you get him as a pity breaker.
No, I literally I got him as a pity breaker like a week ago, and I was like, he's a 5-star unit? I was like shocked. I saw him and I was like, what is the point of making you a 5-star unit? Like, why are you here?
I guess it's because he's extremely popular in Japan. He's one of the like top most popular males from Fire Emblem Fates, believe it or not, because his personality is not the best thing. He's extremely rude, so it doesn't appeal to too many like people, but he's extremely popular in Japan, so I guess that's why he's a 5-star unit. But that's what I'm saying. If he had Life and Death as a default skill, he could be more offensive compared to Felicia. Like Felicia is supposed to be like this healer type of dagger unit for Corrin, for her master with Breath of Life, and she takes on mages and stuff. And Jakob could have been all out offensive with Life and Death. It would be pretty cool because he would have 35 speed with Life and Death 2 at 4-star rarity. And if he had Life and Death, it wouldn't hurt so much to get him as a pity breaker.
Yeah.
You could at least use Life and Death 3.
Yeah, because like the only thing you can fodder off him is like, well, granted, it's a pretty good one because that's kind of hard to come by. Renewal.
Yeah, that was Jakob, and then we have got Est, the meme herself. So Est has got Heavy Spear, once again, the same problem with Florina. She does not have a lot of defense to take on these armored units, and especially some hard-hitting armored units, she's gonna get absolutely destroyed by them on the counter-attack. She does have very high attack, so she could potentially one-shot some red armored units with Heavy Spear, so I guess it's not really as bad as Florina's, and she's got Shove, which is decent, I guess, not really too bad, and then she's got Defiant Res, which does not make sense too much, because there's no way she can retaliate back to the mages, and like she has no way of utilizing this Defiant Res in any way. Like if she would have something like Iceberg or Glacies, like you could then argue that it's made so that she can like have more damage output, but yeah, Defiant Res does not make sense on her.
Yeah.
And then she has got Seal Speed. Like, you're supposed to take on these armored units, I'm assuming, with Heavy Spear. Like, you're not supposed to slow them down because they're still not going to be able to, like, double you. And you're still going to be doubling them. And if they have Very Fighter, you just cannot get past that. So Seal Speed is a pretty, like, awful thing for her base kit. Defiant Res is also extremely bad, I feel like. So she's not able to do too much with Defiant Res. And even after tanking like a magical hit, like what are you supposed to do with that? You're not gonna be able to retaliate back.
Yeah.
And she cannot like utilize Defiant Res in like any way, like a special.
Yeah, she doesn't have a special to use the res. Like Defiant Res is gonna give her like what? 42 res, which is like quite high. Except again, like she's just gonna kind of be a serviceable person to like tank hits from like mages coming in. But yeah, like funny thing you mentioned, like Seal Speed. It's like what if the armor has Wary Fighter? Like, what are you gonna do then?
Yeah, it does not make sense. She could have something else, maybe something like Knockback or something like that, because that would make sense if she's fighting an armored unit. You knock them back one space, and then I guess you reposition or dance her out of the range, and then the armored unit cannot reach her. So that could work out if she's supposed to be an armor killer. She also outclasses Florina completely, has got more speed, more base attack. So she's a pretty good offensive unit, actually. She's pretty good, but her base kit is a disaster and it takes a lot to build her up. And of course her most popular set is a Braveland set, but we have got Cordelia, who already comes by default with that weapon. So yeah, that's why people... that's why you do not see too many S in Arena or anywhere, despite of her being extremely easy to get, because it takes so much to build her up. You cannot have any kind of budget set with her. Like, her skills are absolutely useless.
Yeah, and like, I'm just looking at some like common builds. It's like, give her sorry, Christian channel.
Yeah.
Give her like distant counter. It's like, okay, get rid of a Hector for S, so she can like tank a bunch of mages and stuff. Also, yeah, distant counter, distant defense. Yeah, if you wanna invest in like very hard, like if you wanna invest in killing a Hector for like being a mage killer, good on you, bud. I mean, good luck.
Like, you have to be really passionate about her to do that much, I think.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They realize that these kinds of melee units with high res cannot really utilize their high res with stuff like this. So that's why they release stuff like Defense Ploy. Like, the Ploy skills are pretty good for these units because they're able to make use of their high res even if they're melee. Like, of course, we know the meme of Defense Ploy est, but it can actually work out with our high res.
Yeah.
Especially now that Arvis has got that. It's relatively easy to get. Not really that easy, but still. At least it's not locked behind a 5-star seasonal unit. So they definitely realized that these kinds of melee units with high res don't really function well with that high res. They cannot benefit that, so that's why they added those ploy skills.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I didn't really think of it that way. Like, yeah, before these high res units were like, I don't really, cool, dude. Like, great, Defiant res.
Yeah, melee units especially. Like, melee units are supposed, like, that's the thing. A melee unit should have good defense because they're going to be engaging in melee to melee combat. So, like, high res, if you're going to be making them high res, at least give them something to make use of that. Like, Defiant res, okay, like, what? Like, she's not going to be able to use Iceberg Glacies. Like, same thing with Florina, she's got high res. What are you going to do with that? Nothing.
Yeah.
She cannot retaliate back to like mages.
And that is why Shanna's the poster child.
Yeah, Shanna's the actual unit who makes use of the high res with her default kit. I think that they were supposed to give these like flyers, like these Pegasus Knights, Javelin, and then they scrapped the idea. They thought that would be too good, like to have this kind of 1 to 2 range lance that's inheritable. So that's why they just scrapped that. Because that's what I really think. Like Javelin, like these range units, like these range weapons are really popular in Fire Emblem games, but they are not in Heroes.
Yeah, it's like they nerfed it once in Fates. They nerfed the javelins in Fates, and then in Heroes they were just like, let's not even.
Yeah,
don't even
we're not gonna put that. and here comes Dorcas with his tomahawk.
Yeah.
Range. Yeah,
crazy, man.
Because they really do not wanna have these kinds of ranged weapons be inheritable. Only dragons have those ranged like breaths inheritable. These melee units do not have javelin, tomahawk, or anything like that.
Yeah, man, it's gonna happen though, I guess. Whoa, crazy prediction, Phoenix. There's no, tomahawk's the first one. Like spear is gonna be the next one.
Yeah, javelin, but they could do that. But that's because I'm really trying to understand the thought process behind these like launch builds. It's like they were trying to give them javelin because these Pegasus Knights are supposed to have high res. It does make sense in Heroes they also have that, but they do not have any kind of reliable way of retaliating back to mages, of course.
Yeah.
Unless you give them distant counter.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. What I think about like these launch builds, they had something like javelin, but then they thought that would be too broken if they're gonna be releasing skill inheritance. So that's why they just scrapped the whole idea of stuff like Levin sword and javelins and tomahawks.
We can't say yet. You never. Like
yeah, we cannot say for sure.
What like the Valentine's Day banners be like the love spear, the love sword, and it's just gonna be like counterattack and type thing. That's gonna be a hilarious theme. Oh my goodness, Valentine's Day heroes. Yikes! I almost don't even want to know. Anyway, so the last unit, who's not necessarily like whose hit is not necessarily like very bad. In fact, is actually decent. But just like there are some like synergy issues that Phoenix and I think that could be improved on is Henry. So Henry has a whopping 45 HP, middling, awful, never mind, not even middling, like just bad, 23 attack, 22 speed, 32 defense, and 25 res. Raj Raven, Defiant Defense, Green Tonebreaker. And stats, pretty cool. Like honestly, kind of cool stats. He's like the first mage that had like he has the highest HP, the highest defense.
Bulky mage, yeah.
Yeah, the worst attack, second worst speed, and third worst res. So like this guy has a niche somewhere. But definitely not in offense, I don't think. So offense, yeah, not a really good offensive guy. Not a lot of kill potential. Big redeeming stats are his HP and defense. To be able to tank axes and bows, and basically anything else, it's a no-go.
Yeah,
and I feel like his kit his base kit is like on the way to being like one that has a lot of synergy, because Defiant Defense plays into his like high HP and defense, because like the higher defense you have, like the threshold is the same, but it's like you have more HP in that threshold, and high defense because like obviously 32 plus 7 or whatever is like pretty good.
And it also helps him with his Ignis damage. That's one right thing which they have done with Henry. Like if your unit is gonna be having abysmal attack, at least just give them some kind of special that they can use. So that's definitely a right thing which they have done. But once again, they've got Defiant Defense, which a unit can only trigger if he's below 50% HP. And usually you want to keep your tanks like on a healthy amount of HP, so yeah, it does not really make too much sense. We do get it. Defiant Defense is supposed to play with his Ignis, but like the threshold condition is absolutely terrible for defense skills.
It's pretty punishing, man. Like you have to like put him on edge, But then there's the Green Tonebreaker, which like again, it makes sense. He's a red unit, like he can deal damage to green tomes. It helps him target the color that he wants. But his attack is like not good. Obviously, it's
Yeah, and mages are supposed to be like these kinds of bulky magical units. They have got high res, so he's not gonna like do any kind of damage with his pathetic attack. So Green Tome Breaker does not make sense. If he had something like Bow Breaker or Dagger Breaker, it would be another story because he's got Raven Tome. He's trying to do damage to these units who could potentially have low res. And Defiant Defense once again does not make sense. We're repeating this, and they could have put Defense +3 instead of putting Defiant Defense. If they're like wanna make him defensive, instead of Jakob, you could have given like Defense +3 to Henry. It would make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, this kit is pretty, like, it's not really too bad, but like it does not really go well with his set, like his Ignis.
Yeah, and like the thing about like, you know, he has bad res, not a good lot of attack. So will he be able to double green tomes? Yes, but like, how long is it gonna last until he gets like really screwed up and like he'll start proccing Defiant Defense against a green tome user? It's like, wow, that's really helpful, Henry. You're gonna do great, bud. Like, getting your you're boosting the wrong skill, dude.
Yeah, they could have definitely went in another direction with his slot B skill. They could have given him Bow Breaker, Dagger Breaker, even Quick Riposte, because he's a unit who relies heavily on a special. So it will make sense for a skill to have him attack more, like Quick Riposte, so that he can charge up his special faster.
Yeah.
But Green Tome Breaker, like, it does not really make sense if he's going to be targeting mages who are supposed to be having high res. So even after the Weapon Strangler advantage, he's not able to do too much to green mages.
Yeah, and that's the idea. It's like he's getting like I feel like his kit, it's like on the way to being like pretty neat. Like, I mean, like the concept is cool. Like the more damage you take, like the defense you get, and obviously like the more Ignis will be damaged. And Ignis is like 80% of your defense. Like, jeez.
Yeah, he hits extremely hard. He can like wanna give things with that. So if they had something like Defense +3, which is pretty underwhelming skill, but it would make sense with this Ignis, they could have given him Triangle Adept, because if your unit has got very low attack, then obviously they're gonna be having trouble taking out the unit they have Weapon Strangle advantage against to do damage against their target enemies.
Yeah,
so they could have done something like that.
And definitely think like he's a defensive based unit, of course. So defensive, so like Quick Riposte, even like Axe Breaker. Like if you want to like play into his defense and take on greens and colorless, instead of just like focusing on one, like Axe Breaker is going to be like, you can target that low res on Axe units if they have it.
If you're going to be building him up, then Quick Riposte is definitely one of these skills which he has to run with something like Triangle Adept or Close Counter on his slot A. So you just once again have to invest a lot into his kit to make him usable with his Raven Tome.
Yeah, but at the very least, still got Ignis.
Yeah, so definitely not the worst unit. Definitely not the worst unit with the fall kit, but still, he's still quite underwhelming.
Anyway, so that's actually like all the characters we had. So those were the 8 characters who had some pretty like hilariously weird kits that we just think are joke worthy, and of course see what their actual strengths can be.
So that's pretty much it. Let us know in the comment section down below who you think have the most weirdest default kits or the worst ones, which makes it really hard for you to invest into them, because a lot of free-to-play players have got these units, but they do not invest into them because it's like it takes a lot of resources. Sure, people have got a lot of S, but who wants to invest into her? Like, you need Brave Lance, you need Deathblow, you need other stuff like Defense Ploy on her. But yeah, you have to invest a lot into a unit like S. You have to give her special like Iceberg or Glacis. You have to invest into these kinds of units a lot, and since the majority of the player base is free to play, I think it would make sense for Intelligent Systems to like have units with good default kits, which is definitely something they are improving on, because a lot of the like newer units have got pretty good default kits. So that's just the list of the units. It was just like a podcast, so hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you have, then please be sure to leave a like. And if you haven't already, then make sure to check out Ghast's channel. He's got amazing Fire Emblem videos, and he's got a lot of support science videos, which are definitely my favorite. He recently released an Olivia support science video, which is pretty good, so I definitely encourage you to check that out. And do you want to let my viewers know what is your next project in terms of support science?
Sure. So if you guys have been following me on Twitter, then you would have. I did mention that Tharia is the next one. And I feel like Tharia, like now, especially like she won the voting gauntlet. She's now in the bikini. Like I feel like there's a lot of resentment about Tharia, and
Yeah, definitely.
now's a really interesting time to really get in there and like seeing what she's all about and stuff. Yeah, hot topic. Like, I'm super intrigued. There's a lot. I think there's a lot to talk about with her.
Yeah, so as you guys can see, he's definitely working on that. So if you find that interesting, definitely be sure to subscribe to his channel. The link to it is going to be in the description, and it's also going to be in the end screen. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.